tired too. Hi everybody. We're waiting for the driver to get here so we can go to Jamestown. And we're really tired. Why are we really tired, honey?
I'm not gonna show my eyes because we went out dancing last night. And we're not 25. We got up very early in the morning. And we got up for nothing because Philip didn't show up.
Our driver was late again.
For 2 hours after we had expected to leave, and so we could have been sleeping.
So he finally came, and we drove to, where were we? What area is that called? I don't know.
Somewhere in Accra.
To go and see this artist. Then we came home, took a little nap, quick nap, and then now we're waiting for Philip. And then we're going to Jamestown with the kids, and then that's it for the day. We've been running wild the past few days.
Like crazy.
Like crazy. Running like crazy. So.
Bye.
See you in Jamestown.
Arrivederci.
So we decided to take a trip to Jamestown to see the lighthouse and just kind of see what it's about. But a little bit about Jamestown is it is one of two fishing communities that remain in the Accra area, and it's primarily inhabited by the Ga. I hope I'm saying that right. And so basically, it, as you can see and as you'll see throughout the video, there are some issues with it being a little bit run down, or a lot of bit run down. And currently it serves mostly as a tourist attraction, and then they have a huge annual festival there called the Chalewote Street Art Festival. Pardon me if I'm not saying that right. But yeah, there have been plans apparently for there to be some improvements in the Jamestown area, but it's competing sort of with the central business district of Accra. And so looks like plans have kind of been put on hold, but I can definitely see in the future how this could be a possibility. So now we are driving through Makola Market. Now this is a huge market right in the center of the city of Accra, which of course is the capital. And in here you will find everything you can possibly imagine is for sale. It was so overwhelming, we did not get out of the car. We just kind of drove through and looked around. And the part that we're driving through is a very small portion. So from here you can get car parts, you can get food, produce, clothes, shoes, medicine. I mean, anything you can possibly think of, you will find it here. No need for a shopping mall. This market was constructed in 1924 and was a huge part and heart of the Ghanaian life. So you can find wholesale stuff, retail, lots of women. It's currently mostly women that are selling here, but of course you'll find both men and women. But we just looked outside and we just could not believe it. This video does it very little justice because there are people everywhere selling at every corner, every nook and cranny, on the sidewalk, in the streets. So you can see a little bit here, walking up and down the road with just about anything you can imagine. Interestingly enough, 55 years after Makola Market was created, it was destroyed August 18th, 1979, and the government thought that this would be a good way to improve the economy of Ghana overall by demolishing the market, because they accused many of the market and the women in the market were accused of being the cause of Ghana's economic problems. But obviously, as you can see, here it is 2019 and the market is still bustling and very much alive. And so currently it's under the observation of an organization, TransAid, and they are there to sort of help the women in the market, and it's helping the women to improve their livelihoods and the security of the traders. And that is through the development of women's transport cooperatives in Accra. So you will see Makola Market on different episodes of television You can find it. I believe Anthony Bourdain did an episode on it, Mark Weins, if you want to see more, because they actually got out of the car, whereas the sight of it was so overwhelming. I just thought I would be swallowed up trying to walk through this market. Okay, and lastly, just some things that I read before going here that you should be aware of. Busiest days are Wednesdays and Saturdays, because that's generally when the shops restock their inventories. It's really advisable to go with a guide if you do go, because it's very crowded with hawkers and pedestrians, and it can definitely be overwhelming. But that way, if you're with a guide, they can tell you where to go and there won't be as much confusion. Of course, they tell you be mindful of your possessions, because obviously pickpockets can happen. And then also avoid wandering into enclosed spaces, because most of the market takes place in the full public view. So of course you feel free to bargain and get good deals. That's part of the fun. And the longer you're here in the market and the longer you're in Accra and these marketplaces, you get very good at bargaining, which is what we did. Also, just be mindful, if you want to take someone's picture, ask first, because one thing we noticed in Ghana is people are very suspicious of cameras and video. I probably would have never been able to get this footage if I wasn't driving in the car, because there's so many people and they would be wondering why I'm recording them. Then you'd have to ask and explain to each person. So just be aware of that, just taking pictures and recording. But ultimately, I definitely recommend going to Makola Market, and we will likely give it a go second time around. But with all the kids, and like I said earlier in the video, we were tired. It had been a long day. We were headed to Jamestown, but wanted to drive through Makola Market, which is what we're doing, just so we could get a peek at it. But I just knew that emotionally, physically, I was just tired, and we weren't ready to actually conquer the market on that day. So definitely read up on it. Again, get a guide. They can take you to the best places and show you around, and you'll likely be a lot less intimidated by the enormity of it. And I love just watching how strong these women and men are as they carry these extremely, what looks like to me, heavy loads on their head. One of the things that we just loved about being in Accra and Ghana was just seeing how hard people work. Laziness is not a thing, or at least it doesn't appear to be a thing. On our visit there, we just noticed that from the youngest to the oldest, you had just these strong, vibrant people just always on the move. And this would be daytime all the way into night. It doesn't matter in the heat, if it would rain, people were just hustling, they were working. And so I tell you, you would see people, older people, younger people, muscles galore, strong, and so that's just what we really loved. And then as you see here now, we are getting a little bit closer to the lighthouse area. So I think we've pretty much at this point made it through the market, and so we are soon to arrive at the lighthouse, the Jamestown lighthouse. And so let's continue the video. All right, so here you can see the red and white lighthouse. We weren't really sure where to go, where to park, if it was like an admission thing, but it's in the Jamestown neighborhood, of course, of Accra. So this structure right here is 28 meters or 92 feet, and it was originally built in the 1930s, the one you see now, and it actually replaced an earlier lighthouse that had been built in 1871. So apparently it's a stone tower with a lantern, there's a gallery attached to it, it's a keeper's house, and as you can see, it's red and white with horizontal bands. Now, we didn't, like I said, we didn't know where to go, so we drove down the little hill here because we saw the beach area, and we saw some like little structures down there and people. So we decided to drive down and take a look. So you can see like fishing boats, of course, goats and chickens sort of roaming around. And again, we drove down there and we didn't see anywhere to go. So we actually just ended up sort of making a U-turn or just taking a quick glance. But we didn't get out of the car because one, we thought it looked like a residential area, not so much a touristy area. Again, if we got out of the car, where were we gonna go? And you can see it's very run down. It's, no way to sugarcoat it. And so again, we were like, what do we do? So this also may be a great place. This is still a very touristy place, but it might be a great place to have a guide. I did see this, Mark Weins in his video, which I'll put a link in the description box below. He actually had a guide and got out of the car and roamed around in this exact area where he sampled some food and just kind of took a peek at sort of it's almost like a little mini city, mini market. So I don't know if it's just food and wares and market or if people have, homes there. As you can see, it kind of looks like a mixed place. So we just, again, this is what we saw. We stayed in the car still and decided to just drive and go and try to find something to eat. And that's coming up. We actually did end up finding a little resort area to have lunch by the water. So keep watching to the end so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so here we're passing James Fort Prison, which I believe is said to be about 400 years old. Originally built for about 200 slaves, and it housed over 740 male and female prisoners until the year 2007. I believe it's empty. Don't know if you can go in there now, but again, that's something you want to check out ahead of time before you go. Also, the lighthouse, I believe it's closed. Some of the things that I've read on TripAdvisor is that locals are charging you to take pictures, saying it's illegal to take pictures of the lighthouse. And I've also read of some tourists complaining that they get accosted or just overwhelmed by the locals who want them to pay money to be a guide and to take them around. Obviously, it's a very poverty-stricken area, so you can kind of understand the hustle. But again, just be mindful, do your homework before traveling to the Jamestown area and the lighthouse, seeing if it's open, if there's a fee. Just do your due diligence ahead of time so that you can be prepared. Make sure, again, I suggest a guide, a reputable guide that you go there with. Don't try to get one once you get there. So continue watching. So we just did a little driving tour through Jamestown. We found somewhere to stop so we could actually see the water. And yeah, so let's go.
Where's the cafe?
I don't know. They're out.
Guava.
Yeah, I like that.
Come on, buddy. Oh, wow.
You want to go down there? See if they have a little
Yeah.
down there. So nice. So colorful. Yeah.
Well, you have to go all the way home and
I'd have Philip drive me all the way out here so I could.
he wouldn't do that.
That's the that's square. That's the whole castle. Where?
Oh, right there?
Yeah, the whole castle.
Oh, so we're right by the art center.
Yes.
What?
Is that?
No, not.
That's not the spirit. It's just the art center.
Huh?
Is that not Spirit Square with the arches and the black star?
Yes.
Wow, so we're really close.
Huh? No, that was just that little thing we went to the first day. Yeah.
We're not far from.
Oh. That's the stadium. That's the stadium.
Maybe I will get back and say, let's find something. If I can't find something else, these steps are dangerous. I almost slipped.
They're not even, so be careful. Hey, careful. You guys ready to eat?
Yeah.
I always want to miss the fellow. It's right over there.
Oh, there he is.
We need more than a chair.
We're getting chairs.
Where is Mr. Max?
See him? He's on top of the rock. I don't know. He's making their fast.
I'll just get the
Ordering something.
Actually, you can have the Joel. That's what the chicken is, and I can get the chicken fried rice.
So we finally made it, drove to Jamestown, saw the lighthouse for a second, and now what are we doing?
Now we're gonna have lunch.
We're
It's
gonna have
gonna be
lunch.
delicious.
At, what is it called? Osikan, Ocean Rock Retreat.
Right. Be careful when you handle the menu.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second. It's a little hectic.
Very much. Zoom into the Tetris.
Daddy, look. Daddy, can we go? Dad, can we go?
I'm going next. I'm gonna have lunch to the rock. Ready?
Dad,
Okay,
can we go? Me and Sydney?
we're going to find the rock. Let me just say that I was not a fan of my family deciding to venture across these slippery, wet rocks to go and climb the larger rock that you saw Philip on earlier. They did not have the footwear, they weren't experienced on wet rocks, and so I was just sitting there, a ball of nerves, hoping that they would see this wasn't the best thing to do. keep watching and see what happens. I didn't see you on top of the rock. Get a picture. Spicy gizzards doing skewers, perhaps.
Mine wasn't spicy.
And I got grilled chicken and French fries. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Kele wele, which is fried ripe plantains with spices.
It's killer willa. It's good.
Kele wele.
It's killer.
I think I'm saying it right. And then
That looked delicious.
has, oh, that looks
Grilled chicken and jollof rice. I'm ready for the coleslaw, I'm not gonna lie.
What's really good?
I haven't tried the chicken yet, but this pepper, you can put some on the rice. It's delicious.
Okay, Philip.
Okay, guys, so we still haven't gotten our food yet. The kids are all done. We've been sitting here for like 20 minutes, so we're just gonna get our food to go because, yeah, in Ghana, when you go to a restaurant, generally the food doesn't come all at the same time. They just bring it out in spurts, so one person will be finished, the other person will be eating, so yeah, no food for us. Say hi, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Say hi.
Hi. That was a big
Really
one.
have to eat it?
Hi, girls.
Hi.
Hi.
Still waiting. Still waiting. Now we just ordered it to go. 20 minutes later, we're still waiting.
I hope they have plastic
So despite us waiting 45 minutes after the children finished to eat our food, I would still recommend that you visit this place. The food was good. We didn't go into that inside the building you just saw there, but there is more seating inside and they had music. But I would definitely recommend it. It's a beautiful view. The food was delicious. Obviously, there's some work on the customer service and timing, but again, I would still go here, definitely, if you come to the Jamestown area. And again, we took this sort of long way because we wanted to go through Makola Market, so it's really a much shorter straight shot from the main central area of Accra. Osikan Ocean Rock Resort. Give it a try, and coming up, you'll see a peek at the food that we actually got. We're at home now, eating our food. We had to take it to go, it took so long. And that's it. So I have palava sauce and yam. Sorry about the bad lighting. Let's give it a go.